Welcome to Brotosynthesis. I'm Steve.
And I'm Casey.
And we're just two guys from Baltimore chopping it up about life, sports, and anything else we find interesting. Boy, do we have a doozy for you today. I'm very, very excited to get into this afternoon's episode. We are here from the Edgedale Mansion recording another wonderful episode of Brotosynthesis. And Casey, I think we've waited long enough. I think we need to tell your villain origin story.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's time.
My wonderful friend and business partner is from none other than the mean streets of Dundalk, Maryland.
Not so mean, but pretty shitty.
Dundalk has a certain reputation. If you're from Baltimore, I'm sure your eyes are rolling. I'm sure you're going to that file cabinet of cliches that you have for Dundalk. But I promise you, we're going to break some of those stereotypes today.
Maybe
not.
Maybe we'll prove some.
Maybe we'll reinforce a few. I think it's going to be a mix of both. But the point is, you're going to get a real take about Dundalk. Stavi seems to have finally put Dundalk on the national map, but I still think that there is some misconception for our non-Maryland, non-Baltimore friends out there about what Dundalk really means. So I'm going to quit talking. I'm not from Dundalk. I grew up in Harford County. I got no leg to stand on this conversation other than the cliches I know and the few nights that I drank at the tavern and went to the Beaver. But tell the people, what is Dundalk? And then like your story coming from there and how it's giving you that drive, that chip on your shoulder.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll make this show all about me. And I love that, like, really deeply in my soul. As you can tell by my choppy talking, right? No, so I'm from Dundalk, born and raised, and here in Baltimore, everyone knows it. It's like the redheaded stepchild. It's where all the poor white trash is from. Like we have all types of trash in the city, but most of the white trash comes from Dundalk, right? And that's okay. It's
Hamilton would like a word.
I'm sure there's some other. Like I don't know anyone's like
I'm kidding.
Racing
Overly would like a word.
Yeah, but we have typically taken the prize because we have you're welcome for having the waste treatment facility, the big golden eggs.
Yes.
Now that we've got Key Brewing now, so they've really paid homage or homage. I don't know. I wasn't a major.
I think either one works. I believe in the English vernacular, you can go with either one.
All right, so they pay homage to Dundalk and I love that because
what's the famous beer out of there with the
I think it's called like Golden Domes IPA or some shit. Like it's not anything.
Double Dome or something like that. Yeah, it's a double IPA, which is fantastic from Key Brewing. Shout out.
100%. Yeah, Speed Wobbles. That's a nice, easy drinking beer. Key Brewing. They actually recently moved their facility, so I don't know if they're in Dundalk anymore. But
heartbreaker.
They were there for a while. So anyway, Dundalk is. I guess we should probably start years and years ago.
Yeah,
right?
just because I think for a lot of people, they think it's just some white trash, as you describe it, neighborhood in a city, but it has a very specific culture, a very specific vibe. So for what Dundalk is.
So where our neighborhood got its start, where everyone that's from there really knows it in its heyday is for Bethlehem Steel. Right. So Bethlehem Steel, huge producer of, I don't know, like beams. I don't really know what they make.
All kinds of steel.
All kinds of steel beats me.
And at one point employed almost 70%. I'm going to say that again. 70% of the citizens of Baltimore City. If you lived in the city, you had a mortgage or you rented, there was a pretty much guaranteed chance that you, a family member or a friend, worked at fucking Bethlehem Steel. We were pretty top heavy at the time.
So now, so imagine that is like everyone in there is blue collar. They're all working. And this is like back in the days of, of middle class America reality, like when you could have a job and work at that job for 40 years, get a pension, get a retirement, have a house, have a life, have the, a little sliver of the American dream.
Yeah.
That's where the pride of Dundalk and probably of Baltimore at a larger level came from, right? Like we're manufacturing. People made stuff. They worked with their hands. They worked in factories. And that type of like blue collar ethos is, carried Dundalk today.
It's baked in there.
But the industries have died.
Yeah.
So imagine, over 30, 40 years, this thing that supported an entire town, thousands upon thousands of people, slowly ramps down and down
Generation
and
after
down,
generation, yeah.
and has since been supplanted by places like Amazon and other kind of distribution centers, which, they're needed, they're necessary, they provide value to people's lives, they do provide benefits, but not necessarily the wages and the lifestyle that you would think of as like middle class America, right? So how it kind of grew is this like steady decline. It didn't grow into a decline,
Yeah, but
like steady decline over 30, 40 years.
Dundalk truly is the quintessential story of everything that happened after Black Monday. And if you're not familiar with that, it's where all these industrial cities all over the country fell into just blight and poverty, and a lot of the industry left. This is the early 70s when a lot of industrial manufacturing started to leave the United States for cheaper manufacturing labor and less regulation in other countries. And so there's this famous day. It's kind of a day, more or less a time period, called Black Monday. And it's where all these major factory facilities in key cities that were thriving, Cleveland, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. And they often call this area the Rust Belt when it's talked about in the Midwest, but so many jobs, like almost overnight, left middle-class Americans high and dry.
Yeah.
And for a city like Baltimore that was top heavy on Bethlehem steel, it took us a really long time to bounce back. Our crime rate and our murder rate went crazy. People flocked out of the cities. Our tax base went crazy. And some of the few things that have brought this city back are, job sectors like medical, everything with Johns Hopkins. Tech has come in here. We have this amazing, obviously, port. So trade and shipping has kind of allowed us to bounce back. And we've really, in the modern era, become more of a tourism destination in the harbor and everything that we offer. Now, if you are coming to town, not many people recommend that you head out to Dundalk.
No, but if we'll say, like, if you're all right, so
for those that are from there, there's a lot of pride and a lot of love for the neighborhood.
Exactly, right? Like that's where I was kind of trying to like paint the picture of the fact that like it used to be this like this place where everyone was very proud of what they did, what they accomplished, where they were from. And then over time, when that industry leaves, it's like what's left, right? Like people were already working at the port. It's not like the volume of those jobs changed when steel left. So people really didn't necessarily have access to the same quality of life. And when you're just a high school graduate, you got to think this is 80s, 90s. Like not everyone's going to college. Everyone's trying to, like, most people are trying to just get out of high school, get into the workforce. Like that's the path. And if those jobs aren't there, then, obviously they take lower level jobs, which is why now, you see roofers, you see people that go right into like plumbing, mechanical engineering. And these are professions that are coming back in America now because people don't want them. But how that influences like a town and the socioeconomics of it is all the money left.
Yeah.
And therefore what happens? People look for ways to get by without that money, right?
It does feel like throughout my life, as I would Dundalk, the reputation comes in the room, 10 feet before they do.
Goddamn right.
But the pride is always there. I've never met somebody from Dundalk who was ashamed to be from there. Even if they grew up during the, less than polished era. I think what that comes from is being proud to have survived the deck stacked against you, which is really a lot of what Dundalk's story is. And even in a city of Baltimore that is not shy for neighborhoods that have struggled, Dundalk does feel like the one that gets kind of crapped on more than others, right? Like the crime is not worse in Dundalk than in West Baltimore, right? The lack of jobs is not different than in like North Central. The food deserts are not different than again in South in Brooklyn Park. So it's not like majorly different, but for some reason, Dundalk has this reputation of being like squirrely. Well, like people from Dundalk are shifty. They're hard. They're hard to get your hands on.
Well, it's because I think a couple of reasons. Like one, I think that the fact that like I always like gloss over it in the sense of like how hard life is being from Dundalk, because like there are places in Baltimore that are like, man, like you roll through West Baltimore and you're like, holy shit, like it gives you a real perspective
Right.
on maybe like how tough or not tough you think you might have had it. But I think the thing that's collective about everyone or most people from Dundalk is that there's all some sense of struggle, right? Like no one has it easy. And that's true in any really shitty neighborhood. Everyone's got problems. Everyone's got somebody in their life who is like an alcoholic or addicted to drugs, or like they know someone that died, or someone they're related to passed away from it. And so like, again, like as manufacturing, as industry leaves, then drug addiction comes in, and you see more and more of this, like, kind of classic slide into poverty, into lower class, into, people on food stamps and this and that. And we all want to be able to, I think this is true of like America as a whole, but like people want to be able to work. They want to be
human beings.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
We
it's
want
like, it's not just a Dundalk thing.
thrive.
We want to be proud. We want to do things that are productive. And when you don't feel like you have those opportunities, you either take matters into your own hands, you leave like I did. Like I joined the Marines at 17 and then went to Texas and went all over. And now I'm back and proud of it. But I think that story of what people learn being from Baltimore, being from Dundalk, is like, I got to take matters into my own hands.
Did you make that decision to join the Marines because of a lot of the circumstances that you came up with?
Like consciously, no, but subconsciously, probably, right? Like, so when I was,
you saw that as a route.
Yeah. So when I saw a route that everyone else was kind of on, right? Like if you didn't go right to college, which I was fortunate enough to, like, I smoked weed every day. I drank every day, or not every day, but a lot of my
life.
You fucked
around in high school.
I started in middle school. And that's the thing that you like think about when we're like, oh man, what's Dundalk? What's this? It's like, no, I started drinking at like 12. I started smoking weed at 12.
Yeah.
And I had to manage literally like high school sports, jobs, all that good stuff. Like I felt like an adult by like 13 years old. I'm like, I got a job.
I was so naive at 18 leaving for college.
I'm paying toward the bills. I'm smoking weed on the way home I'm walking home from my restaurant job after school practice, smoking a joint. Like I felt like a 50-year-old in a 14-year-old's body, and that's what I think a lot of people go through is like, I got to just figure it out on my own. So for me, the Marines was like, for some, thank the Lord reason, like I knew that I partied too hard and school was too easy, right? Like don't get me wrong, like I'm lucky that I have the aptitude and ability that I have to be able to like go do anything I want in the Marine Corps, go do anything I want in business life, and like always have a job and all. Like I'm a lucky person from where I'm from. And I'm grateful every day for having my God-given abilities, because I know people that are dead. I know people that, man, their biggest goal in life was working for BGE. And that's all good, because if you come from a place that's like no one sets their sights on anything, like
it's amazing to
just having a pension, just having benefits, right?
I mean, and you said it a moment ago, not just all Americans, all people have this. I really believe this in them to thrive and to strive for things. And if that's your goal and you can meet and achieve that, the deck is stacked against you, man. It's stacked against you if you're coming out of Dundalk, because you said it really well. You're always, it feels like arm's length away from a problem, like somebody in your life that's struggling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, or a problem's in your backpack with you at all times.
Something, an obstacle that's going to come for you.
Like you're just waiting on the next one. It's interesting because we're going to get like deeper into the stories of my life. Like those are going to come more organically, but I think I always take these things to like a deeper level. Like when you ask me about me, I'm like, yeah, I can make a ton of jokes, right? Like I got class clown and all this shit, but I think about how people look at other people, right? And the thing it makes me think of, and the thing I'm really proud of being from Dundalk, is like, we all remember the Squeegee Boys.
Yeah.
We all remember the Squeegee Boys in Baltimore. And the Squeegee Boys,
knew about them long before everybody else knew about them.
Well, I think it's important to explain, because I think that like those kids working on street medians, trying to clean windshields, and there's a lot that goes into that for people who are like in the car, right? Like for anyone that doesn't know, if you're not from Baltimore, you're not
from a major city.
Yeah,
they have become more common.
In most cities, a
lot of controversy, a lot of opinions about Squeegee Boys. But
in most cities, you see them, they're homeless people. So it's like it's easier to be kind of a dick or like
brush them off.
Or brush them off. Yeah. But in Baltimore, a lot of times they're like high school age kids who are just trying to like, they're
Find any way
kids,
to
they're
make a
boys.
buck.
They don't know
Yeah.
how to act. They're just out there trying to survive, trying to do anything they can. And I've been in like real ass arguments with people who would be like, these kids this and these kids that, and you see these little hooligans and this and that trying to get money out of everybody.
Mm.
And I would always be like, and this is the perspective that growing up in a place with shared struggle brings, is like just the understanding of like, do you think a 16-year-old boy who's concerned with pussy and beer wants to be out in a median fucking cleaning windshields in 90-degree heat, or selling dollar bottles
Right.
of water in 90-degree heat
Right.
on a Tuesday or a Saturday, or skipping class? Like,
Yeah.
it's
And
crazy to me.
I've had the same sort of I've had the same sort of pushback from people, and you and I are of similar mindset here. But just to speak a little bit more apolitical on this, and I'm going to use that word apolitical because people get supercharged with this. Well, what about what about all the instances of violence? What about when it really goes wrong and they get too aggressive or it becomes a safety issue? All legitimate concerns. However, buried in this entire thing is a heart to be industrious. Okay. You can't deny that. That is unfucking deniable, no matter how you feel about this particular issue. There is a desire to do something productive here, even if it's just a selfish desire to make money for myself.
Change your circumstance.
I would rather have people in this society that want to earn than want to, just suck off the teat, right? Or try to get something that comes free to them. So one of my favorite quotes: "You got to want to learn, you got to want to earn." Those are the two characteristics in life that if you see that in somebody, no matter what other behavior is there, that is a redeemable person. There is potential, there is opportunity, and you cannot say, no matter what argument you have against this certain group. And we didn't even think we were going to get into Squeegee Boys today.
Know.
That's the whole point of Brotosynthesis. We don't necessarily know exactly where we're going to go. No matter whether your opinion on it, I think it's important to say that at the core of all of this is an industrious effort. There is an industrious effort in it. So,
yeah, I totally agree.
How are you relating this to Dundalk? Because we kind
of I think so. Why I brought it up is to just give like larger level context of Baltimore in general, right?
Yeah.
And I think why you get to the perspective of like, I see the Squeegee Boys, and no matter how much they need help with customer service, like I always saw like, man, they're like a couple sales coaching sessions away from like fucking handling business on these corners.
I can mold them.
I swear, there was one point in my life where so the squeegee problem's been regulated, and like it's actually much less than it is now. And I hope these kids are like, I hope they have a positive place to go. But like my head was like, yo, I think I'm going to just buy like 10 polos, get them embroidered, and just hand them out and be like, hey boys, if you put on this polo and you smile to people, you're going to get money. You're going to get more money. And to your point, like why I brought it up or why I think it's important is because like being from where I'm from, I see commonality there. I don't see the other there. You know what I mean?
And if that wasn't clear to anybody listening to this, there's an obvious reason that you fell on one side of that issue, right?
100%.
You saw yourself.
I had to have a job since I was 13, 12. Yeah. Like I was just fortunate that A, I'm a white kid. B, I wasn't in the middle of a city that maybe didn't have restaurants around where I live. Like I didn't feel like, I felt like I had options to go get a job, which for me, I literally, when I needed a job at whatever, like 14, when you were allowed to get one, I walked until I got a job in a restaurant. Like literally applied until I had a job. I was a busboy 4 hours later.
Yeah. There's a real survival mentality of people from Dundalk. I've always really admired that. There's a few other places around this country where, as I've traveled and met people, I've seen some of that too. I don't want to give too many flowers to Delco, Delaware County, outside Pennsylvania, but I got a lot of friends from there. It's not quite the same sort of struggle that Dundalk is, but they have a similar reputation. People from Delco, as they call it, are often labeled as crazy, unkillable. They're like the
Yes.
cockroach that can survive the nuclear
This is where
bomb,
we're gonna get
right?
into the juice.
Right.
Yeah.
And so those are the sorts of cliches that, for me, growing up north of the city, I always heard about people from Dundalk.
Yeah.
It's to give you guys something geographically to cling on to. When you think about Baltimore and the harbor coming right up to the dead heart of town, you got to go about 20 minutes due east, up the water. And so much of Dundalk backs into the Chesapeake Bay. I mean, there are people, barely getting by check to check with this beautiful bay and a dock in their backyard.
We'll take the wins where we can get them,
right? And so there's this crazy juxtaposition of like, there are so many parts of Dundalk and that area, like Bully's Quarters and just everything around there, that is gorgeous, man. Sparrows Point,
they'll say we're not Dundalk.
I know.
They're just, what's Sparrows Point and Edgemere are just the people from Dundalk who could move out.
This is what I was.
They can afford to live in a different.
This is what I really want.
I moved to the city.
I want your
when
cliches.
I wanted to buy a house.
I want cliches like that.
I live in Hamden now, right?
Yeah.
Hamden is the Dundalk of the city.
Dundalk downtown,
100%.
North Central. Fair enough.
100%.
Pretty much.
Hamden is the Dundalk.
And
it's
funny?
City,
it's come up over the last 15 years, but 20 years ago, it was an apples to apples sort of situation.
I would argue it still is. To be completely fair to Dundalk
for the real
Hamden.
ones that are like from there, not the transplants that
not
live
the
there
people
for
like
a year.
me. I got a nice job. I got my.
But
BA
the ones that
loan.
live down the hill towards the mill and the old stone buildings.
Like, I mean, I live on that side of Hamden, I can. Dude, it's great. I love it. It's walkable, but there's also still like shootings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in my ass neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Like, so here's the Dundalk thing. I think to paint the picture is like our quintessential event for me and my friends from Dundalk was to start a bar crawl in Fells Point and end it in Dundalk.
In Dundalk?
And
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's I don't know if you can like Google Maps it right now.
Yeah, let's
but
do it. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. Just to be sporting. I'm gonna go from the farthest east bar I can. I'm not doing it. I want to do where we Bond Street. You're gonna go.
No, we started at like
horse you came in on or something, or
we started at what's the fucking
Admiral's Cup?
Where the markets are? Like Todd Connors, basically.
Todd Connors.
Yeah. Todd Connors is good. Yeah.
Fine. Then we'll give you the heart. We'll give you the heart of Fells.
Give me the heart of Fells and then we ended it. We tried to end it at Howard's Pub, which
oh my god.
I don't know if you have ever been to a bar inside of a prison, but it's basically where you're going for sure. Like, that place is Howard's Pub.
Is that Halliburton Avenue?
Oh, that's
Halliburton Avenue.
Yeah, that's Halliburton Avenue.
Am I saying that right? Halliburton?
Yeah, you can have. I think your Baltimore accent is like harder than mine.
Well, it's just because I've practiced it for years, man.
My mom basically tried to make sure we didn't have one, but
all right,
I still roll the T a little bit.
And we're talking about walking this.
Yeah, we didn't bar crawl
right,
in a
from
car.
Todd Connors off Broad Street in downtown Fells Point. It is currently a 2-hour walk to Howard's Pub, just south of the East Point
miles?
Mall. A total mile count on that is going to be 4.8 miles.
Okay, so 5-mile bar crawl. 5 miles, and there's a stretch, and I don't know if you see it, but there's a stretch when you get.
I know the stretch you're talking about.
You get out of Canton. So how this bar crawl
started? It's the stretch when you cross Dundalk Avenue.
No. It's before it. So it's going from the city to Dundalk Avenue. So this is
like Broning.
It would be
like Broning to Dundalk. Yeah.
It would be like 25. Like straight up 25 people, and by the end of the bar crawl there were like 4, right? Like you know what I mean? Like every year
some had fallen.
You either like
some had fallen to the casualty to the drinks they had taken. Some had caught a stray bullet. Some had taken
a lady home
bus.
If they were lucky.
Exactly.
You know, like it's but
there
by
were
the
all
end
different
of it,
types of casualties.
Yeah, by the end of it was just Adderall and Bud Ices trying to make it. So we would start this 25 people. We would go to almost basically every bar along Boston Street.
Yeah.
And so you'd have some good rest stops. You'd go to Canton Square, hit a couple, and then you would have this honestly like 2-mile walk. And this is before Canton was developed in the way that it is now, where now if you go to Canton, there's like Target, there's shopping centers, there's condos or apartments all the way up to Greektown. And
it wasn't like
it's like one whole neighborhood now. Whereas before, those were all like vacant lots that we would just walk. And by this time, it's like, it's like 8, 9 p.m. A 5-mile walk took 10 hours, right? And I remember, dude, just double visioned walking like by night shift, like, holy shit, we have about a mile straight to go right now. And I just am trying to like get through life. You know what I mean? Like you would get to like Jimmy's seafood and be like, I need a water, a crab claw, 1 crab cake, 2 chicken tenders.
It feels like you're describing like Dundalk Ninja Warrior, right?
100%, dude. Exactly. Right. But that is just like how hard people from Dundalk will go if you're like, hey, we're going to do a bar crawl to honor the dead.
I love
on a
it.
random Tuesday. You're like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
This is a great segue to one of the things I'd hope we get to tonight. I kind of surprised Casey with our topic of Dundalk, and he's been so benevolent to share his story and his, I think, a very raw and nostalgic view of what that neighborhood is and how it got to where it is now. But there are also amazing things about Dundalk. We talk about Jimmy's Seafood, and I know for a lot of you out there that are not from Baltimore, that name is not going to surprise you. It's been on Pat McAfee many times. When you look up places to go in Baltimore, you will get the recommendation for Jimmy's Seafood and Jimmy's Crab Cakes a lot. It is a Baltimore staple, but I want from you a true Dundalkian.
Ooh.
Dundalker?
I don't know. We didn't get that far. I didn't get that far.
A boy from Dundalk. What are your favorite spots in Dundalk? Because honestly, the only place I've really spent a lot of time is like, I'll go out there to hit some of the golf courses that are kind of in that area, and I'll end up at like, the Muddy Beaver at Mickey's. But that technically, I guess, is Sparrow's Point. So
yeah, I hadn't actually been there. Well, my favorite of all time to get a pizza and a beer is Squires, right?
Yeah, like famous
Squires.
Famous
we talked a little
spot.
bit. That's a topic upcoming is going to be
Baltimore pizza
spots, because me and Steve have a background in eating a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
But my favorite Squires is like 4 blocks from the house I grew up in, and that place, man, it's got so much nostalgia. Also has some of the best pizza in Baltimore, but has a bar on one side of the restaurant that you're going in there, you're playing Keno, you're getting Jameson, you're drinking Bose back when they made them here. And that's definitely my favorite because I could walk there. So, local haunt. Some other places that I would go to, what the fuck is the dock bar called out there? Hard Yacht. Hard Yacht hasn't been around my whole life, but it's a Dundalk staple now.
Yeah.
It's a little dock bar in Dundalk. It has nice little live music venues. It's very dock bar, right? Like not too big. It's all deck, like very laid back, but they have live music there. Yeah. You can boat right up to it. And let me tell you, boating and being out on the water is a kid from Dundalk's dream.
Yeah, you can't talk about Dundalk without marrying it with the bay.
I mean, fishing. I used to crab with string and a little chicken neck, and you would just go to Merritt Park and literally you would hook them to a pylon,
pull them up right off the dock.
Slow, yeah. On the Eastern Shore, they call people from this side. We don't refer to it as the Western Shore here, but we refer to the Eastern Shore as those people
the other side of the
bridge,
bay,
right? And they call us chicken neckers because we can crab off pier. We crab off the pier.
The pier with the chicken necks. And again, that's like a situation thing. Like I didn't know anybody who had like a boat that would take me out crabbing and like set nets. Like that came later in life. As a kid, that's what we would do. We'd go get a pack of drumsticks from the grocery store and some twine. We drop them off the side of a dock and try to pull them up, and maybe we get 5 of them. We steam them. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man. You wouldn't get full at all, but it was a good time.
The authenticity that we've been trying to convey here is a hard thing to do, but I think I can summarize it in this statement. If a Michelin 3-star chef walked up to me, giving me recommendations on the best way to make a crab cake or crab imperial or a steamed crab, and then right after that, a lady named Doris, who's chain smoking a fucking Marlboro Red, who's lived in Dundalk for 60 years, walked up to me and also gave me a recipe for a crab cake and Maryland crab soup and an imperial and all that. there's not a fucking chance in the world I'm listening to Gordon Ramsay and that fucking 3-star Michelin
Well,
chef.
let's say we're from Dundalk.
Get out of here, right?
If they're a Michelin 3-star from Dundalk telling me how to make a crab cake, I'm like, all right, Doris, you go.
This person ain't from Dundalk. I'm saying if it's between Doris and the 3-star chef.
Hell yeah. Doris is going to be slamming it home.
She knows.
She's been doing it a long time. She's been making crab cakes.
Yeah.
She's been underrated. She's been herself.
So
authentically Doris for her whole life.
And as much as we talk about like the grime and the struggle of Dundalk, you can go the world round of the nicest restaurants and you're not going to find something more authentic than that food in this place, because that's what this neighborhood is. This neighborhood is quintessential old Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
And that's why we do love it. I'm blessed to have a business partner that came up with the biggest fucking chip ever on his shoulder, and it makes him incredibly potent. It makes him so effective in what we've done with our business and his other endeavors. You know, him and his wife's business, the Sedona House. I don't think that business has as much success as it has had without somebody with the relentless drive to make it what it is. So I feel blessed by Dundalk every single day.
That's amazing. That's amazing you said something like that. You know, how about we transition?
How
about we transition to someone else who goes just as fucking hard?
I love it. So he's teasing right now. I sprung this on him because I thought Dundalk was the perfect setup to the topic I wanted to talk about in sports today. My man, Jalen fucking Brunson.
Okay.
If you
paint me a picture,
dude, if you're not an NBA basketball fan, don't worry. You don't need to be one. This guy is the most Dundalk athlete going right now. He is gritty. He is tough. It has been a struggle. The deck is stacked against him fucking 9 ways. And on top of that, it feels like the other people are playing with house money. It is a joke that he is even in the situation that he's in right now. But it is just a testament to his greatness. And so I just really want, for a moment, I implore the listeners of the show, and if you're watching along, even if you're not an NBA fan, if you have not been watching Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks and this run that they're making through the NBA Finals, it's the best thing on TV right now.
Well, Steve, talk to me about.
I can't take my eyes off.
So give me a little, because I don't. I like sports, but I'm a pretty big football fan.
Right. So you're not playing.
Yeah, my connection, my only, like, I'll tell you as much as I know about the Knicks, and hopefully that'll give like where you should bring me in on this. When I went to NYU, I had 2 roommates that were Knicks fans, and this was during Linsanity.
Yeah.
And that was my 3-month experience with the Knicks.
Do you remember what year that generally was?
2011.
Okay, so that's the last time a Knicks fan was happy.
Ooh, interesting.
That's the last time a Knicks fan was happy.
Ooh, Eddie Kim.
I promise you.
Are you happy now?
I'm not. Listen, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm a Miami Heat fan. Okay, so they already hate me as I'm saying this, but I just want to. Knicks fans, please put down your pitchforks. Okay, the Heat are out of it, and guess who's rooting for the fucking Knicks? I am all blue and orange this playoffs. I'm all in on this fucking squad. Let's go to Tom Thibodeau, the Butcher, and all the other boys on this team. They're fun.
Talk to me.
This is the first time in 15 years any Knicks fans have been happy. The last time was Linsanity. They had a great run with Melo, but here's the thing. Did you know that Melo never got past the first round?
Also from
Melo never went to the Eastern Conference Championship with the Knicks. So his Knicks career, he was good. The teams weren't. Right?
Yeah.
You know, before that they had Strawberry, and the Strawberry teams were so much fun, but he had so many issues personally. It felt like they couldn't get over the hump.
Yeah.
And before that, in the 90s, they were the quintessential power in the Eastern Conference. However, they happened to be playing at a time when a young man named Michael Jeffrey Jordan was fucking winning everything. So Patrick Ewing, John Starks, all these amazing Knicks players couldn't break through at that time. They just couldn't break through because they kept running into the Bulls. And so the Knicks, who were one of the original franchises in the NBA, they won 2 titles way back in the 70s.
Back when it was all
with Earl the Pearl and I believe Walt Frazier.
Is Earl the Pearl a white guy?
Earl the Pearl's a black guy. Played at Tennessee and then played for the Knicks. But
that's such an awesome. That would be an awesome.
The point is, the story of the NBA can't be told without the New York Knicks. And to this day, their stadium, Madison Square Garden, is considered to be the Mecca of basketball. College teams that get to play there during the NCAA tournament The players rave about the feeling of playing in MSG. The players all around the league, they say that their favorite team to shit on and dump points on is the Knicks, because as the Knicks have been bad, guys like LeBron come in and drop 60, and it's like the ultimate stage for the highest levels of basketball.
Do you think that's because it's New York or because it's Madison? Yeah, like
so it's three things.
Yeah.
Number one, it's the venue. If you've never been to Madison Square Garden, there's not a bad seat in the house. It is so electric. 18,000 seats. When that place is rocking, it's as good as any venue in the country in any sport. That's number one. And I think other teams that play there, like the Rangers, Rangers fans would attest to that too. Number two, it is New York. It is the pinnacle of like a big city, of commerce, of media, right? So like the exposure, the lights are always a little bit brighter in New York. And I think we all know as fans that are, as people who are not New York fans, when things are going well in New York, oh my God, we never hear the end of it. It's loud. Like New York fans are. They'll let you hear it. Kind of like people from Dundalk.
Good for them.
Kind of like people from Dundalk.
I respect that. I
and
really
then,
do.
As do I. There's real fans up there. They're very passionate. And then number three, and this is the big one, the city of New York has been a basketball hotbed for 60 years. Okay. There's Rucker Park, where, famously some of the greatest basketball players in the world have gone and played street ball in these absolutely rough neighborhoods.
Fat Joe dunked on Big Pun there.
Kobe went and played there. Durant went and played there. I mean, they've done NBA,
also from
games on these street ball courts, not actual official games, but they've done like crossover games and promotional stuff on these street ball courts all throughout New York City. And basketball as a sport, Dr. James Naismith might have invented it out in Kansas, but the sport became what it is today on the rough and tumble concrete courts in cities like New York.
Wish you would have said concrete jungle.
Yeah, the concrete jungle where dreams are made of this. That kind of thing. So anyway, let's get back to it. The reason I felt like Dundalk was the setup for Jalen Brunson is because Jalen Brunson's story feels like Dundalk. He's 6'1". He's 190 pounds.
6'1", 190 is what for a basketball player? Sounds short.
It's incredibly short.
Sounds like the 5'7", 160 of basketball.
There are plenty of guys that have made the league at 6 foot, maybe even a little bit shorter than that. Guys like Muggsy Bogues, a Baltimore native, come to mind. Shout out Dunbar High School.
We just keep throwing them out. All the Baltimore ballers. Shout out Rudy Gay then. Let's keep them coming.
Those guys are never the best player in the league. They're never the team leader. They're great role players. They're great additions, but it's hard for them to make an impact in this world of extraterrestrials. I mean, Victor Wembanyama, the number one overall pick in the NBA, a year ago out of France. He's 7'4". He shoots 35% from three, and he can dribble like a guard. That's what a guy like
Isn't that guy
he is going up against.
I feel like, all right, just interjecting. I feel like basketball's players changed at some point.
Human evolution, yes. It's gotten to the point where they're talking about expanding the size of the court because these fuckers are pterodactyls.
Yeah, they're big people now.
There was a time where, Wilt Chamberlain was this otherworldly athlete in a sport of otherworldly athletes. Now it feels like if Wilt was playing today, there would be 10 other guys.
Do you know his
Wilt was definitely over 7 foot, and he was built a lot of the taller guys are not always built super athletic, right? They're either like really heavy or they're really wiry. Wilt was kind of that first guy that came along where not only was he tall, but his actual physical muscle mass and athleticism fit his build.
Yeah, like a Cam Newton.
Yeah, he could do everything a smaller guy could do because his body was like perfectly formed to play basketball.
Do you think that people like Wemby are do you think that body type can last in the NBA?
So,
because to me, just as like a casual guy, it's like they look too small.
We're getting a little off topic.
I know,
but
Steve.
We're getting a little off topic, but the answer is this: the concern has always been in the NBA that if you have an otherworldly body, you're more susceptible to breaking down. Big guys have knee injuries. They have all kinds of shoulder injuries, back injuries, ankle, foot. The bigger you are, the harder you fall sometimes.
Got it.
Yao Ming, who was 7'5", played for the Rockets out of China, an incredible player, but his window is only like 6 years because injuries caught up.
They're like Great Danes.
Exactly. Now, I think the simple answer is this. Those bigger guys are going to be susceptible for injuries, but if they can make an impact in a 3 to 4 year window, they can win championships and become great players. And because the style of basketball has moved away from going down to the post and bumping and more to a space and pace model, big guys are experiencing longer careers, less injuries. And if they have the ability to shoot, if they're a big guy with skill, you now have the ultimate skeleton key. You can unlock the sport by being the ultimate spacing object. If you can hit a three, if you're 7 foot, you can hit a three at a 35 or more % clip, and you can pass and get up and down the court. You literally can be one of the top 10 or 15 players in the league.
So what makes a Jalen then the person you go for?
It's not. You should never go for a Jalen.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. That's why
you got to bet on somebody from Dundalk every now.
That's why this is so fascinating to me. So for the last 5 years, the best player in the sport, inarguably, has been Nikola Jokic, the Joker, the center from Denver, who's 7 foot. He can pass, he can shoot, he can do all the things that I'm telling you. He's won 3 MVP titles in that 5-year period and an NBA championship.
Yeah.
He is clearly the model. A skilled big man is what you want in the NBA. So why? Why is it that a 6'1", 190 guard out of some podunk town in New Jersey that doesn't, on paper, should never be anything more than a role player, why is he stealing the show in the NBA Finals? He is single-handedly ripping the heart and soul out of Celtics fans and their entire team, the team that just won last year's championship. And he's doing it with these performances that, like, you can't look away. He went full Super Saiyan. As we sit here on this couch today, last night, the Knicks in Madison Square Garden had Game 4 against the Boston Celtics, the reigning champs in the NBA. And that game teetered-tottered back and forth through the third and into the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, with about 5 minutes left in the game, Jalen Brunson did what he's done the entire year.
What did he do, Steve?
He went into full clutch mode. He went Super Saiyan, and in the course of a minute and 30 seconds, he hit 3 3-pointers and had like 13 points. Got to the basket, made every right decision. And these were not easy shots.
We call that closing out a game.
These were shots fade away to his left over a 7-footer. 2 guys, hand in his face, rattle in 3. Beat a guy off the dribble, seek contact, go up, get the and one. We have not seen a guard of this size, this skilled, since Allen Iverson. End stop. Right there.
Does he practice though?
This is the best player. This is the best player at his size since Allen Iverson. And he's already, if he makes it to the championship this year, you can argue has had more success than Iverson.
For sure.
If he does it in New York, I'm telling you, this man will be the number 1 most beloved athlete in New York. He will be the number 1 most beloved Knick of all time. The folklore of Jalen Brunson will start to spread like wildfire. You will see him in every fucking commercial. He will become the face of the league if he can do what he's done.
You think?
Statistically speaking.
Okay.
He's the most clutch player in the NBA this year.
Is he the most marketable player in the NBA right now?
I think he is, because we saw with Curry that shorter guards in
gotta have a nice smile,
shorter players are very translatable to the consumer, because a lot of people who love the NBA are kids that'll never play in the NBA, and they can see themselves as a Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, like I can be 6'1".
I could be 6'1". If I practice hard enough, I can be skilled like that.
Yeah.
If I have the grit, the determination, I can play like Jalen. And I think the same thing happened with Curry, where everybody saw Curry shooting and saw that he was a shorter guard. And so many kids went crazy with Curry because they thought, hey, I could do that too. Now,
yeah, I mean, we could do
Curry's skill is like, clearly that man has vision and hand-eye coordination that is not human. So I don't think anybody, no matter how much they practice, can beat Curry. But I do believe that somebody like Brunson, his skill is attainable with the work. The thing that makes him special,
right.
He wants the ball. He wants the ball when the pressure's on. When the team is down, he never gives up. He is fearless in these situations where you're like, no one should be confident, and he is confident because he he's just got this edge. He's got this scowl. This like
something
he
about
does
him.
this like pit bull look every time he goes to the back. He's just tough as nails. I found out today in doing some research on him, he's a Virgo, right?
Naturally.
These are the top 4.
Why wouldn't he be?
These are the top 4 Virgo
Hell
personality traits. Ambitious, iron-willed, and relentless. He's a perfectionist, and he's self-aware. If those aren't the 4 most accurate traits to describe this fucking man, I don't know how he could fit the box more perfectly.
I love it. As a Virgo, I can say loudly and proudly, all those are true, and all those Jalen Brunson and I share.
Now, some people will say, hey, you know, Brunson's had a lot of success, and that's true. He won a championship in college at Villanova. They had a great team. Came down to the wire against University of North Carolina. But here's the thing. The NBA saw his size, and they saw all the winning he did, and they said this is not worthy of a first-round draft pick. The man was picked 33rd to the Dallas Mavericks the same year that they picked Luka Doncic, who is one of the most famous players in the world, one of the best players that probably will ever live. And so he lived in Luka's shadow in Dallas for 4 years until finally he was traded to the Knicks. And he, you know, when he was sent there, everybody scratched their head. What are the Knicks doing? This is not a max player. This guy can't turn a franchise. And from the moment he's gotten there, he has been infectious. He has turned the franchise around. Their winning percentage has gone up. People want to come and play with him.
Mm-hmm.
He has gathered all of his college teammates
and his dad
that are now, you know, now working for the Knicks and playing with the Knicks. It's basically, he's living the dream. He's playing with all of his boys. He's basically playing backyard basketball
and might get to a championship.
Oh my God. So they won last night. They beat the Celtics. They're now 3-1 in the series. Jason Tatum got hurt. That's the Celtics star player. And it feels like the path is there because what's the rest of the Eastern Conference is shaping out like this. It looks like the 1 seed is going to go down. Cleveland is going to go down to Indiana. And that means we're going to have an Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks Eastern Conference Finals.
Put it in the bank.
My money is on the Knickerbockers. Let me tell you. Jalen Brunson is out for blood. I want him in the finals against SGA and these Oklahoma City Thunder. If that's who comes out of the West, that's the dream series. I had to give you a little bit, got to give him a little bit of love, give him his flowers because, man, my favorite thing in sports right now is watching him play. I constantly, when he puts up shots, I'm like, there's no way. Oh my God, how is he fucking doing this? And I think that's, I see a lot of the same traits in my business partner. So,
wow. Thank you. Wow.
That's why we had to go down the Dundalk train, man.
Lauded praise.
For any of y'all out there, watch some Knicks basketball this weekend. You will not be sorry.
Sure to be entertaining.
You will not be sorry. And you know what? Pay a visit. Pay a visit to Squires next time you're in town. Maybe don't walk there personally. You know,
take an Uber, but they have parking if you want to drive. You can get there. You can get there.
There you go. And say hi to Doris for us when you see her. She probably still drinks Miller Lights and
she's smoking on the front porch right now.
Probably bum one from her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask.
They might be Pall Malls.
You're gonna probably have to buy her a shot of something.
Or take a shot.
She probably drinks Sambuca. I'm just guessing, right?
Oh my God! You know who does? Man, when I was working at the Tavern in the Quarters, bro.
Yes, I got him for another.
Oh my God, Tavern in the Quarters. There is a prominent family who owns funeral homes in the area. Okay. And I'm not going to call them out because all of our listeners will then die and go to their funeral home. I don't know. But the guy that owns it, he's a drinker, and this man drinks himself some Buca.
Yeah.
What is Sambuca? We'll leave y'all with this.
Because it does have a Dundalk tie.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No. Tell the people what Sambuca is.
Sambuca is the ultimate celebration drink of the Greeks. All right. You can't have a wedding or a funeral or any celebration of life or a sports victory without a bottle of delicious Greek Sambuca. And if there's one group of people that truly have left their mark on the city of Baltimore, it's the Greeks.
The Greeks.
the only neighborhood.
Absolutely true.
The only neighborhood between Dundalk and downtown Baltimore,
Greektown, baby.
Is fucking Greektown. So when I think of like that area of the city, I think of a lot of like old school Greek culture.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the reason that we have such great Greek culture here is because of the shipping port, right? The Greeks have always been in shipping, fishing, trade. That's just a core industry for that entire country, and so that it's been married into this neighborhood of Dundalk.
I grew up in the basement of Sammo's, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Sammo's is a Greek restaurant in Greektown. I actually grew up in the basement there. My dad used to live underneath. He was a cook. My aunt worked there for like 15 years.
There may be more collective bottles of Sambuca in that little stretch, that 5-mile stretch of land.
But to cap off the Sambuca story, so my guy Terry that drinks at the tavern,
great Dundalk name, Terry.
He is like he does this thing when he gets drunk. He can sing, right? And he's from the 80s, right?
Oh.
And so you know the Kool-Aid Man, right?
Yeah.
How his theme was like, oh yeah. Right? Terry is like the Kool-Aid Man joined a hair band and had fucking pipes, bro. He will get like tipsy as shit in the middle of a dinner rush. And this place is like, it's like 4,000 square feet, right? Like it's not small. But if someone's screaming, you can hear him throughout the whole place.
Okay.
He will belt in the finest American pipes. Oh yeah!
After he hits the boot,
I swear to God, it is amazing. And so we get to the point as bartenders when I was working there, we would be like, we would just go up to him.
Along with him?
No. We'd be like, we would slide him like a little baby a buka and be like, give me a good one, Terry. And he would just belt in the middle of dinner. Oh yeah!
These are the atmospheres that I miss every time I walk into a bar that's not a local neighborhood bar.
Hell yeah!
Guys, until next time, check out the Substack, and we now have our podcast up. That's right. You are going to be able to get that on Apple Pod, Google Pod, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you get your podcast. Just check out Brotosynthesis. You'll, if you can't watch this wonderful content, you'll at least get to have us in your ears, hanging out with you as you drive, you work out, you do the rest of your life. Little theater of the mind, straight from Casey and Steve, the boys over here at Brotosynthesis. We really appreciate your support and everything we're doing, including Hotline Sports. Check out the app on all your app stores. And until next time, synthesize down some sweet buka, some Sambuca synthesizer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.